Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral HouseCalls. We are getting started with our community's questions. These are the weekend editions of the Cabral concept. We call them our house calls, where I get to virtually step into your home, listen to your question, whatever the wellness, weight loss, anti-aging, mindset, health coaching based question may be. I'm going to do my best, my very best, to make sure you get the answer that you deserve. So I hope that this will serve as a non-diagnostic, non-treatment-based protocol, but you can use it as a second opinion, an alternative to what you might be doing now, but also looking at what you may have missed. That's always the goal, is to look as deep as we can as to what the underlying root causes may be. So again, you'll never hear me say, oh, I recommend using turmeric in this case, or I recommend using CoQ10, or I recommend using extra B12. All of those things can be great. They can be a solid part of a good overall protocol, but they are never root causal. So we'll be talking about lab options. We'll be talking about deeper foundational-based protocols, all sorts of different modalities that we can use. That's truly integrative. So if it's Ayurvedic, great, we'll look there, traditional Chinese medicine. If it's state-of-the-art, if a referral to a conventional medicine doctor is best, I'm certainly going to give you that as well. So let's dive into the questions right now. Today, I'm on my laptop, so instead of using my little iPad right here, we will link up today's questions, and I'm going to open up the document right now. All right, so as I always say, this is the very first look I have at these questions, and I like it better that way. It's fresh, it's a raw answer, and even if I've seen the question before, I might give a little different take. So definitely feel free, though, to always go back and review at cabralsupportgroup.com. Any particular keywords, all right? So let's get started with the first question. This one is from Michael. Michael says, hello, Dr. Cabral. Why does my dermatitis get worse when I eat dairy, gluten, or grains? If I do consume those foods, I also get dandruff, joint pain, muscle aches, anxiety, and brain fog. What should I do to resolve this? Thank you. All right, Michael, thanks for the question. Really common question. Why does your dermatitis get worse when you eat those foods? Well, I want you to keep in mind that when you eat a food that your body is sensitive to, this means it's not an allergy. So an allergy would be like an anaphylactic-based reaction. You might get really accelerated heart rate. Your throat might start to swell up. Life-threatening based issues. What we're talking about right now, in your case, is a food sensitivity. Now, these food sensitivities can still be pretty immediate, like within minutes to hours, or they could be a latent response, and that would be more of an IgG response. So we test for IgG food sensitivities. I can't recommend that you do it enough. Again, you can find everything over at EquaLife. It's just equa.life is the new website. So you can do these right at home. My family is actually doing another round. So I haven't done my girls' food sensitivity test in a year. So usually I'll do that right around the start to the school year after the summer. And we're kind of a month delayed in that, but we're running their sensitivities right now. And the truth is, I will show them their results, and I won't say that anything's wrong with you. There's nothing wrong. You're totally fine. This is normal. These are foods that your body's a little bit more sensitive to. We all have sensitivities. These are the ones that we're going to want to stay away from, because when we eat them, what happens is that our immune system becomes activated, and our immunoglobulin G antibodies or immune cells will actually go after the dairy or the gluten, or in your case, maybe some of the grains. And what happens is you get inflammation. An immune system attacking a pathogen, an antigen in your body, is going to create inflammation. That's a natural byproduct of your immune system doing what it's supposed to do. Now, here's the thing. The good news is that a lot of food sensitivities can actually be reversed in time. So we do a 6-week, 12-week, 6-month removal depending on the severity of the food sensitivity. I did a video podcast actually on a case study not too long ago, and I definitely recommend going and checking out that previous podcast. Just go to stephencabral.com/podcasts and type in food sensitivity. And if you ever can't find a podcast, really easy, just go to cabralsupportgroup.com. Ask the community there, hey, where's the podcast Dr. Cabral did on the food sensitivity test? And they will link it up for you. All right, so that's that. Again, there could be other issues as well with lectins, et cetera, but the truth is that not a whole lot of lectins in dairy, and so you could very well be dealing with a food sensitivity that's then displaying itself as joint pain, skin issues, muscle aches, anxiety, and brain fog. Not uncommon at all, and we all have them, right? I have random ones myself, like kidney beans and almonds, right? So very strange, but again, we all have them typically, not usually a lot, but even when we're healthy, sometimes we can still have one or two. That's okay. We're all unique. That's where bioindividuality comes in. And it's good to know which ones your sensitivities are. All right, Michael looks like he's up again. This is coming in from September 25th. So it looks like we're about 6 weeks behind right now in your questions. Michael writes in, hello, Dr. Cabral. What would be the cause of B vitamins causing me to get a shortness of breath and anxiety? Well, I've actually answered this a bit before, but I'm happy to answer it again. Again, you can find all previous answers at stephencabral.com/podcast. But oftentimes, this can be a genetic methylation path issue. I don't want to call it a defect. We're going to call it an issue right now because, believe it or not, these can also be resolved as well when the body is in better functioning capacity, when the liver is less congested, and the body is actually better able to deal with these B vitamins. So there's a couple ways around this. Let me share just two of those ways. One is that you're putting more B vitamins in your body and your body's using those actually for a detoxification-based process. Believe it or not, phase 1 liver detox requires a lot of those B vitamins. It's very, very important. B vitamins like B6 is also needed for thyroid function, serotonin function, etc. Now, the issue, though, that you may be dealing with could be actually from a over-methylation of those B vitamins. So we have under-methylating and we have over-methylating. And I've done a whole podcast on this as well. Of course, I would love you to go and check out that answer after this short answer as well on a full podcast. But a lot of times you'll see people when they run their blood work, they have very high homocysteine, let's say a 9 or above. I know that conventional medicine will allow it to go all the way up to a 15, but we really don't like to see it go above a 9.5, a 10. So during that time, that high homocysteine could actually be from not enough methylfolate, like methylated folate, maybe not enough methylcobalamin, which is the methylated form of B12, maybe not enough of what's called betaine or trimethylglycine, and even some choline in there. So those are great methyl factors. I would even put B6 in there as certainly a helper to that. It's a great synergist. So you need those. I mean, really easy. You can just take an activated B complex, 2 capsules a day, plus something like the daily nutritional support. Again, not providing any treatment protocols. We're also not diagnosing any disease here, but that's an easier one to do. Now, let's say you ran your homocysteine and you were below a 6.5. Well, it could actually mean that you might be over-methylating. There's more to it than this, but at that point, your body may not be using those methyl donors as well as they should. They're not being converted properly. At this point, we wouldn't want to overdo our B vitamins until we began to really look at the whole de-stress protocol, the diet, the exercise, the stress reduction, and a big one right here is a functional medicine liver detox as well. So I used to be in that category for sure. I would actually get brain fog, shortness of breath, some anxiety when I would take a higher dosage of B vitamins. They pushed my body too much. My body was not ready for it. I was more into the fight or flight. My body became exhausted. I took the B vitamins, which are also energizing vitamins. My body wasn't able to handle it. Now, today I can. Flash forward many years later. So we have to get our bodies healthy, and then we can start to use those B vitamins to an even much better degree. Most people don't have this issue. Most people do much better with more B vitamins. Of course, there's a limit to that, but I did want to share that with you as well. All right, Luke is up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I'm writing on behalf of my mom. She's 65, 115 pounds, 5'1". She was diagnosed with Polymyalgia Rhuematica about 9 years ago after a few very stressful incidents and a very high stress life in general. She took prednisone for 6 years, started on 15 milligrams, eventually tapering down to 2. She transitioned to low-dose naltrexone 2 years ago, off medication entirely. Let's see what else. The severe body pain went away, but her blood pressure is now extremely high, sometimes 180/60. We've been measuring it over the course of several months with little change. She also suffers from bone loss, did the 21 detox, harder to get her enough nutrition, no junk food, but little nutrition in her diet, no exercise. Really love to get her blood pressure down and then help her apply the parts of the de-stress protocol that she's ready for. But as you know, it's very hard to get family to listen to you when it comes to health, especially exercise. What would you recommend? All right. Thank you, Luke, for writing in. I appreciate you. I'm going to put on my little blue blockers right now because this screen staring. Yeah, it's getting to be a bit much. Okay, so really important right here is that you recognized that stress is a huge component, okay? So polymyalgia rheumatica, if for people unfamiliar, a form of rheumatoid arthritis, but really what it's like is like full body inflammation or full body joint pain, flu-like symptoms. So I've talked about this before, but really when you're looking at a lot of these issues, especially autoimmune issues, which this is, you're looking at a combination of digestive dysfunction combined with high levels of stress. Now, of course, there's toxicities. There's lots of other things. I'm glad that you started detox. But honestly, with your mom, she's 65, so she's not old at all, right? She's got many more years ahead of her. So what we need to do, though, is like what I try to help my parents with is like just start small. So what I recommend is that you just start every day with a smoothie, right? Daily foundational protocol, level 3, I would do. And it's very easy. You can get everything at breakfast. You can just literally do everything at breakfast that you want. You know, if your mom has difficulty taking supplements throughout the day, no problem. Just start with a smoothie, honestly. Add in the daily fruit and vegetable blend, add in the omegas, add in the vitamin D, add in the enzymes, the daily fruit and vegetable blend. Like all those things are easy, right? There's 5 total things. And you want your vitamin D in there. Pretty straightforward. But here's the thing. We can't push her too fast until she's ready. She'll start to feel a little bit better just by replacing whatever she's doing with breakfast right now. And she's doing hopefully a 12-hour, 14-hour overnight fast. And then she does her smoothie. Start eating 3 to 4 hours before bed. Remember, start with the basics. And then what we want from here is to do walking. We want to work her up. She's probably doing maybe like 2,000, 3,000 steps a day. I mean, honestly, most people are. They don't do very many steps. So we don't want to go to 10,000. Yes, I want there eventually to be to 10,000. But the truth is I would love you to get to 3,000 steps next week, every day. And then, of course, you need a day of rest, take a day of rest. And then try 3,500 the next week and then 4,000 and just keep working up. And I would really, the both of you, it would be beneficial to go through the Integrative Health Practitioner course, just the general public course if you want, and really learn how to implement this because it's called a graduated exercise program. Start with walking, then a little bit of cardio. You just ease into it, right? Oxygenate the body, keep getting in good food, and over time, the body will start to get better and better. But again, there's a lot going on here. So if you could run a lab, if you could at least run the starter kit, then you'd get a plan with one of our health coaches. They take you through it. And the starter kit would be a great place to start because you'd look at mineral imbalances. Like very likely your mom has lower levels of magnesium and probably an imbalance between sodium, magnesium, and also calcium and magnesium. But again, I don't know that until we run those labs. So Luke, that's where I would start. I mean, really, I would look at the gut function. You can do that through the Candida Metabolic and Vitamins program. Look for yeast overgrowth, bacterial overgrowth, low vitamins. And then the mineral and metal test will look at heavy metals as well as those minerals. So it's a great lab. It's called the Starter Kit over at Equilife. Yeah, I mean, I wish you the best, Luke. And again, this is just the beginning. It's going to be a journey. And though the truth is that I know that both of you can come out very successful on the other side. And I've seen it happen before, and there's no reason why that can't be a part of you and your mom's future as well. All right, let's see who is up next. It looks like we have Michael. Michael says, hello, Dr. Cabral. I was taking a probiotic supplement of 100 billion. Within days, I started to feel itchy, dry skin, constipation, nausea, anxiety, and many more symptoms. It's been a week since I stopped taking the supplement, and I'm still symptomatic. Do you know what would cause this? Yeah, it's a really good question. And then, Michael, I think this is you asking, I think you asked last week's question as well about the histamine issues with taking probiotics. I think you're the same person, probably the same person who has the food sensitivities that we talked about earlier in the show. So, Michael, I want to save you a lot of, so I'm going to give you this. Okay. First, I'm going to answer your question, and then I'm going to try to direct you in what I feel is the right direction for you. Okay. So when you take a high-potency probiotic, and you already have bacterial overgrowth, which it sounds like you have some level of gut dysfunction. You talked about histamine reactions last week, if this was you. You've talked about anxiety, dandruff, brain fog, or other issues. So we've got a lot going on with your digestive system, right? And foods. And very likely bacterial overgrowth. But again, I'm not giving you a diagnosis of that. But let's just say you do, right? And now you add more bacteria, 100 billion more. I know that there's trillions of bacteria in the gut, but you add 100 billion more, right? And I don't know what type of probiotic you're taking. It's not the Equilife one. Could have a lot of colon-based strains. Your body's not ready for that. So now you start to put colon-based bacteria in your small intestine because it has to go through your stomach and through your small intestine before it makes its way to the colon, which a lot of people forget, a lot of practitioners forget. So what happens is now you have more bacterial overgrowth. And so now you're dealing with, again, the nausea, the anxiety, and all sorts of issues that you might be predisposed to. So to me, Michael, if I were you, I would run the 3 gut-based tests. I mean, ideally run the big 5 plus the bacteria and parasite stool test. But if you can't run those labs, then run the Candida metabolic and vitamins test, simple urines test. Then at the same time, run the bacteria and parasite stool test. Okay, it's going to look for bacteria and parasites. And then run the IgG food sensitivity test. You've got a lot going on, Michael, it seems, with your digestive system. This is not only going to tell you exactly what the underlying root causes are, but you're going to get to speak with someone on my health coaching team, and they're going to design a program that's best for you. So that is absolutely what I recommend. And Michael, hopefully you find that helpful. All right. Melissa is up next. Hello, I was wondering your thoughts on energetic testing as a tool for finding root causes. Certainly functional testing reveals a lot, but I've seen several people uncover diseases with things like applied kinesiology and muscle testing, bioresonance scans, cytoscans, frequency testing, etc. That even functional lab work is missed. Can you explain how those work and if they are at odds with functional testing or complementary to it? Thank you. Melissa, thank you for your question. On episode 1724, I went really in depth with Kelsey's question on kinesiology and muscle testing. So I want you to check out that one because that was kind of like my standard that I'm just going to refer back to. So that was on episode 1724. Now that's different, okay? If you're talking about bioresonance scans, this is a little bit different. Because there's actually different devices, many of them created over in Switzerland and Germany, that look at electrical currents within the body. This is different than muscle testing. Muscle testing is relying on the practitioner and you as part of the two of the equation to figure out what's going on in the body. When you're using a scan-based machine, it actually, there's validity to it. And this is part of functional medicine, part of complementary or integrative medicine. So there's nothing wrong with those. They're definitely not going to diagnose a disease, that's for sure, because there's no disease to be diagnosed with those. If someone's telling you they're diagnosing a disease with those, well, then that's not correct. Like, that's absolutely not correct. But it could absolutely tell you at different tissue levels, mineral imbalances, cellular osmosis imbalances, like too much fluid in the cells, outside of the cells. So I think there's, without a doubt, a basis to that, but there's no way, like nothing to this day that I've ever seen. And I was just at the World Medicine, what's it called? The World Medicine Summit. Like, it's 6,000 doctors last year get together from all over the world in Germany with the best of bioregulatory medicine. It was amazing. I mean, I met some amazing doctors over there in Baden-Baden. And, it's fantastic, but it doesn't replace functional medicine lab testing. And again, like, I have the option to run any test that I want. I can run anything in the world that I choose to. What I do is I choose the labs that get people the most consistent results. So I have no problem with all the other things, and I'm always looking at them. Remember, I use electron microscopy. So I'm looking with light field, dark field. I'm using electron microscope. I love doing that. I use iridology. I look at the face. I do pulse testing. I look at the tongue. So I do all of those things, and I believe in all of them, Melissa. And all of those are part of a good integrative health practitioner. And you can use them or not. But for sure, none of them will replace like a Candida metabolic and vitamins test or a heavy metal test. It's difficult to replace that. Now, if I look at someone's tongue and I can see that it's swollen, or they might have a little bit of thrush, like overgrowth on it. Oh, okay. Yeah, this person most likely has yeast overgrowth. So I don't have to run the lab if I don't want, but it's not always that clear cut. That's for sure. Like, you can have a pretty clean looking tongue, but the yeast overgrowth is in the intestines and it's just not up in your oral cavity. So, hopefully that was helpful. I know that was kind of a lot of words there. Let's see if I answered 6 questions for the day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means I always like to do 6. We're going to get one more in for today. All right. Ron is up next. Hi, I'm 59-year-old male, chronically ill for 30 years. I've been everywhere, tried about everything. Recently had a swag of tests done with my integrative medicine doctor. Been diagnosed with leaky gut, leaky brain, autoimmune. Unsuccessful trying to follow the doctor's instructions for the last 8 months, mostly on a mold protocol. I recently was trying to purchase Megaspore probiotics and was told by an integrative pharmacist that she would need to see me first. She did not give me the probiotics, but wanted to work on some stuff first. On my visit with her, I told her that I had to take crazy amounts of biotin in order to survive. My liver would even ache. She replied, I think you have a fungal infection. So we are not just talking yeast in the intestinal tract. We are talking yeast switching to fungus and penetrating the intestinal wall and spreading through the whole body. I've heard Dr. Cabral talk about fixing the gut. I would be interested in hearing if he knows how to fix this or if he knows someone who could help me. Please get back to me ASAP as I'm desperate. If you are looking for a challenge, it has arrived. All right, Ron, thank you for the question. If you're looking to work with one of our health coaches, honestly, the easiest thing to always do is just go to equi.life, EQUI.life, click on the health coaching tab, sign up for the private health coaching, and that's the best way to go for sure, especially when it's a more involved case. I don't love when people have candida overgrowth or a fungal-based overgrowth and you just start with the mold-based protocol. Yeah, mold can be a big part of it, but really the best results we've seen are doing something like the CBO protocol, intestinal cleanse with binders, then the mold-based protocol, much better results. I mean, keep in mind, like this, we work on everything. We're a general-based practice, but I mean, 2/3 of the people we work with are gut-based and overgrowth like this. So there's not an easy answer to tell you, Ron, but I mean, I don't know what tests that you ran, but honestly, the only three gut tests that you need to run are the Candida metabolic and vitamins test. All right. So that's called an organic acids test. You need to run a stool test. It should be a 3-day test. Ours is the bacteria and parasite stool test. 3 days. Remember to look for parasites, bacterial overgrowth. And then you want to run an IgG food sensitivity test. So we don't own any of the labs. We partner with the best labs out there. That's the truth. We read your results. We tell you exactly what to do and we give you a full plan. So I know that you've already met with a few other people. Honestly, I would just choose one practitioner to work with, whoever you feel is the best person for you. And that's fantastic. We'll always be here for you, Ron. So just let us know how we can help. But I would meet with a health coach. I would run at least those 3 labs. I would begin to correct whatever's going on in the gut. I would heal and seal the gut wall. Then if there's still mold left, yes, I would work on that mold as well. So that's it. Ron, thank you for writing in. I appreciate you. Appreciate all the questions today. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care and be sure to tune back in tomorrow where we'll be answering more of our community's questions.